Well, we'll send one of our best parrot photographers, Betty. How's that?
Rupert Murdoch shocked the British establishment right from the start. In 1969, he bought the News of the World and immediately published the diaries of the model and call girl Christine Keeler. They unearthed an old sex scandal about a Conservative politician called John Perfumer, and the British establishment was scandalised.
Christine Keeler, the girl who sparked off a drama of government scandals, spying, intrigue and even death. On Sunday, Christine opens her secret diary and tells the first full story in the News of the World.
I was young and naive then, but now I've had time to think. This is the first time the public will be able to read the real truth.
Do you have any qualms about that as muckraking and going over an old scandal that should be dead and buried by now?
No, certainly not. And it shouldn't be dead and buried either.
The vicious reaction of the British upper classes shocked Murdoch, and in the 1970s he fled with his young family to the United States. And he used the money pouring in from his British newspapers to start building an American empire. And his personal myth began to take shape, that he was a revolutionary outsider challenging the decadent British system. In 1976, he said in an interview, "In Britain, it's very easy to get sucked into the establishment. I think when people start taking knighthoods and peerages, it's really telling the world that you've sold out. I just wasn't prepared to join the system." And in 1981, Murdoch came back and took his revenge. He bought the Times and made it clear that he was now challenging the hypocritical elites wherever they were in Britain or America.
They hate to see someone communicating with the masses. They feel that newspapers, the written word, is not for the masses. That should be left to television, or perhaps to nobody. But there's a great sort of elitism. It was a typical piece of slanting and elitism by the BBC. I don't know what you mean by downmarket and upmarket. That is so English, class-ridden snobbery when you talk like that.
Over the next 30 years, Murdoch's newspapers promoted a populist idea of democracy. This challenged the idea that anyone could set themselves up in Britain as a superior elite and tell people what was best for them. But there was a ferocious logic to this idea of democracy. Because if everyone was equal, then no one was special. And that had big implications for the celebrities who had become central to Murdoch's newspapers. If they were more famous than the rest of us, it meant they were different from us. And the Murdoch vision didn't like the idea of anyone being different. So celebrities had to be transformed, so they would become more like us. Flawed and unhappy, drinking too much and eating too little, struggling with emotional problems and with cellulite. But most celebrities didn't want to be seen like that. So Murdoch's journalists had to resort to increasingly devious methods to give us the information we craved, the private failings and weaknesses of the famous. Today, Murdoch may be on the way out, but we all still distrust elites. And there is a new empire that offers the same dream of a world without hierarchies where we are in control. It is Google, with its promise of information flowing free of all political control, and where everyone talks to each other as equals. But the price we pay for this is that Google's machines watch us all the time and know everything about us. And they don't even have to pay for private detectives or for phone taps. And the strange thing is, we don't seem to be bothered about this at all.
Food, and the spiritual world's answer to Lady Gaga drops in to illuminate the otherwise earthly Australian master chef.
I'm standing at my bench mincing some garlic.
Okay, so we're going to meet the 7 contestants.
When I look up and His Holiness, the Dalai Lama himself, has come into our kitchen to meet us.
Serenity doesn't get tougher than this.
His sort of Christliness was on hand to spread mystical vibes throughout the kitchen and to ask and answer the big questions.
What is this? Cheese.
This is cheese. Yes, you like cheese, don't you?
Yes.
But there was more to the great Yoda Almighty's trip than mere cheese liking. Yes, he was here to judge, for which he took his seat for the Last Supper. And lo, when the nervous contestants shuffled in with their offerings, lobbing plate after plate in front of his superness, one woman was afeared, for her creation was not up to par.
Your Holiness, today I had a bit of a disaster in the kitchen. It's not what I wanted on the plate.
Go from this place!
But I wanted to share it with you today, but I didn't get on the plate. Sorry.
Well done. Good on.
Oh, she's in there. Hand rubbing aside, MasterChef wouldn't be MasterChef without a tense judging scene, and Dalai Lama or not, this was to be no exception.
Well, she's obviously, during her plating up period, got some gnocchi up, but mine's actually quite raw and doughy.
I think they tried their best.
Yeah, you haven't really got the hang of this judging thing, have you? August is traditionally a quiet month in terms of events, but 2011 had other plans. Following the shooting of Mark Duggan by police, feelings were running high in Tottenham, North London. And when a Saturday afternoon protest demonstration turned violent, TV quickly filled with disturbing scenes of wanton destruction and furious crowds. You know, just like it does at the start of a zombie film. At other times, it resembled one of the thrilling bonus stages from Street Fighter 2. Nothing was safe, and that included the camera crews.
There are no riot police officers around at the moment. They are further down the road dealing with somebody just attacked our camera.
The following morning, TV screens were full of depressing images of burnt-out buildings and a dead bus. But it was far from over. Over the next few days, trouble broke out in other areas, and alongside the window smashing came more and more footage of looting. The violence and hysteria seemed to be spreading in an almost viral manner, again, just like in a zombie film. In fact, at times things looked more like a zombie film than most zombie films. The unreal apocalyptic feel carried through into the endless helicopter coverage, which was starting to resemble the most depressing Command and Conquer level ever designed. Even from this vulture's perspective, the brazen lack of respect some of the rioters were showing the police was startling to watch live. In fact, it wasn't just violent, it was downright cheeky. That incident actually led to one of the most bizarre identity parades in British criminal history.
Just take your time. Anything look familiar?
Maybe number 3?
Number 3.
As time wore on, the trouble spread even further. It was as if some kind of lawlessness gas had been released. Disturbing footage showed Croydon was now twinned with the Eye of Sauron, while in Clapham Junction, Sky reporter Mark Stone was busy capturing unprecedented scenes of pixelated anarchy on his smartphone. Mind you, you've got to hand it to whoever fitted that bracket to the wall. They did a heck of a job. He also held impromptu interviews with alleged looters with their faces covered.
These are a couple of people who appear to have been at it. No, I live here. I'm just astounded at what you're doing.
Well, we're getting our taxis back.
You're getting your taxis back?
Well, fair enough, they probably will need taxis back, considering how much stuff they're carrying. Trouble was, much of the live coverage depicted shops being looted, with no one apparently coming to stop it. It was almost like a commercial advertising the ultimate giveaway sale. Kicking off now, it's Britain's most terrifying sale. Yes, it's August Monday Madness. Thousands of prices and windows smashed. Get your hands on top name brands or anything else that's lying around. Plasma screens worth £750, now no pounds. Trainers worth £79, now no pounds. Basmati rice was £8.99, now no 99. First come, first served. If you can get it off the wall, it's yours. Get this TV now and receive an increased sentence absolutely free. Branches in Hackney, Ealing, Croydon, Clapham Junction, and coming soon to Manchester. See Rolling News for details. Must end soon. Please, God, let it end soon. Aside from the violence, one of the most depressing aspects was the nature of the looting. It all seemed to be about getting your hands on phones and tellies and trainers. What's so great about trainers anyway? You stick them on your feet and walk around for a while till they go out of fashion. Woo-hoo! If we've really become a species that's impressed by footwear, we might as well give up and go home. Having thoroughly depressed us all with scenes of unprecedented urban destruction, the news now needed to give us something to cling to. And so it began to highlight some of the more cheery side effects of the riots. So there was widespread coverage of the heartening impromptu broom armies that assembled in London to clean up the mess. Yeah, that may look uplifting, but somewhere there's a broom showroom that's been gutted. There was even a breakout viral star in the form of Pauline Pierce, the woman captured ranting at looters on YouTube.
She's worth
working hard to make her business work, and then you lot want to go and burn it up for what? Just to say that you're warring and you're bad man.
She was the Susan Boyle of the riots, except instead of singing I Dreamed a Dream, she was standing in front of a piece of graffiti that said, Cameroon suck my dick, bellowing abuse.
You lot piss me the fuck off! I'm ashamed to be a happy person!
So more like the Sex Pistols, really.
Dot your teeth or not!
Not that these punk roots stopped her from appearing on Cheerful this morning to the delight of Eamon Holmes and being profiled like a pop star on the news. But what would really make people feel better was seeing the wrongdoers banged up.
Many of them seemed to be revelling in their crime spree, posing for snaps with their haul-like triumphant winners of a gadget show competition.
Sky News carried an illuminating interview with a group of self-confessed looters in disguise.
In disguise to protect their identities. 2 were dressed as ninjas, 1 disguised as a man peering out from an elephant's arsehole.
But never mind that, let's hear what they have to say.
And what did you get then?
Oh, what did I get? Tracksuits, couple electronic stuff.
Nice green scarf.
I know people that know people, so I got a van.
You had a van? So you were going around in a van, filling it up in different locations from different stores?
Yeah, but we also dropped it off.
Bit like a cardo, really.
Any bad feelings at all? Have you ever thought about it at night when you've been sleeping in your bed?
No, because I'm watching my plasma that I just got. Feels like Christmas came early.
And with that, this troubled band of teenagers walked off into the sunset with their trousers falling down.
Should have nicked her belt.
Over the following weeks, the media went into a full-blown hand-wringing exercise trying to work out why the giddy heck the riots had happened.
Thing is, it seemed to me the riots actually just hardened whatever opinion you'd had beforehand. Masked youths blamed anger and anger.
So what do you think drove the people that smashed this place up last night? What was in their minds?
Just anger, innit? Anger as well.
Grown men blamed the big society.
It's big society. It's a load of crap. What they say. The big society's not worth 10 bob.
On civilised Sky News, posh people blamed people from the estates.
I think it's just people from local estates.
And arseholes on horrible US shitcasts blamed immigrants.
Many of them are immigrants. Many of them can't speak the language. Of course they're going to be unemployed.
In an unusually angry news night, which had even had its windows kicked out, David Starkey seemed to join in, blaming race.
The whites have become black, a particular sort of violent, destructive, nihilistic gangster culture has become the fashion.
Yeah, black people, it's all your fault, even when you're trying to fool us by not being black. I mean, look at this white black bastard. How dare he? White as the ace of spades. Boo! Go back to Africa or Surrey.
I was in London for the big riots. I was amazed anything over here could burn. In this damp, stone, brick, ugly, mossy rock. I'm amazed I can keep a cigarette lit outside. And I don't know why it happened. The riots happened for whatever reason they happened. They're trying to say it's a socio-economic thing, and maybe it is. I don't think so. Unless you had some kind of flat screens for the needy program that got chiseled out of the budgets. Take your little rioter at home and put him on your lap and explain to him. Go ahead, loot and riot and steal every flat screen out of that shop, you little hoodlum, you little chimney sweep, you little scamp. Fill your entire walls with flat screens everywhere you look, and all that's on is Friends and Top Gear. And with the hours you keep, you're gonna get the episode with the deaf interpreter flailing away in a seizure in the bottom of your screen so you can't even pay attention to him. I've literally wet a napkin and stuck it to the lower quarter of my television screen so I could get through an episode of a show I didn't want to watch anyway. What you have to explain to your youth is their outlook is bleak regardless. It doesn't matter if you have money over here. You're in the United Kingdom. Your outlook is fucked.
The killing, that was good, right? But it was really weird. It was about Sue Perkins, except instead of like judging a baking contest, she's being a policeman, except not a man, but a woman with a jumper on. The same jumper for weeks, so she would have stunk. And there wasn't much killing in it, unless you count the girl who got murdered at the start. And the parents took ages to get over it. Usually in crime things, you see the relatives for like one scene, you know, boo-hoo. But in this, it kept showing them again and again, sitting around, looking upset and crying and getting angry and crying again and looking lost until you're like, all right, the murder was like 9 whole episodes ago. Get over it. Have some ice cream or something. Jesus. You've got 2 other kids. Take them to the zoo. and try not to get them killed, you selfish bastards. Then it was so popular they did it again. The Killing 2, right? That was like The Killing 1, but with Sarah Lund in a different jumper, and it had giant haystacks in it, and this man who ran around hiding everywhere in the army, and the army blokes were a bit weird and sometimes offered to toss each other off.
Det har været nogle hårde dage. Jeg kan godt tage over, hvis du vil. Det bliver ikke nødvendigt. Ellers tak.